Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between rolling hills and whispering wood, there lived a bright-eyed 5-year-old girl named Agbo, with golden coils that danced in the sunlight and a smile that could light up the darkest corners of the world. Agbo was a child full of joy, but her laughter was often overshadowed by heavy sadness. Just a year ago, she had lost her beloved mother who had filled a little cottage with love and the sweet scent of freshly baked bread. After her mother's passing, Agbo's father, heartbroken and lost, remarried a woman named Omago. At first, Agbo had hoped that Omago might fill the void left by her mother, but she quickly learned that the new woman in her life was not kind like her mother. Omago was thin and demanding, her heart as cold as the winter frost. She often made Agbo do all the chores around the house, from scrubbing the floor to washing the dishes, while she sat idle by, her eyes sharp and unyielding. "Do it faster, Agbo," Omago would bark, her voice echoing through the small cottage. "You are not a baby anymore. You need to learn how to be useful." Agbo would nod, her heart sinking, but she never complained. She dreamt of a day when she could escape the heavy cloud of her stepmother's anger and find the happiness that had once filled her home. One hot afternoon, as the sun began to dip behind the hills, casting a golden huge over the village, Agbo was sent to gather firewood for the evening. "And don't come back until you have enough," Omago shouted from the doorway, her arms crossed tightly over her chest. With a heavy heart, Agbo struggled through the forest, her small hands trembling tightly close to herself. She had always loved the wood, where the trees whisper secrets and the birds sing sweet melodies, but today she felt the weight of her stepmother's word pressing down on her. As she wandered deeper into the forest, she noticed an old woman sitting by a fallen log, her back hunched and her hair as white as snow. The woman was struggling to gather some wood, her free hands shaking. "Will you like some help?" Agbo asked, her voice soft and gently. The old woman looked up, her eyes sparkling like stars. "Oh dear child, that will be wonderful. These bones aren't what they used to be," she replied, a warm smile spreading across her face. Without hesitation, Agbo knelt beside the woman and began to gather the wood. They walked together, laughing and sharing stories. The old woman told Agbo about the magic of the forest, how it was alive with creatures that watched over her, and how kindness was the greatest magic of all. When they had gathered enough firewood, the old woman turned to Agbo and said, "You have a kind heart, little one. In return for your help, I would like to give you a gift." Agbo's eyes widened with curiosity. "A gift? What kind of gift?" The old woman reached into a tattered cloak and pulled out a small shimmering stone that glowed with a soft light. "This is a heart stone. It will grant you one wish, but use it wisely." Agbo took the stone in her tiny hands, feeling its warm radiate through her finger. "Thank you," she exclaimed, her heart swelling with gratitude. "I will use it to make things better." As the sun began to set, Agbo hurried home with the firewood, her mind racing with possibilities. She could wish for a new home, or maybe for her stepmother to be kind. But deep down, what she truly wished for was freedom from the sadness that had enveloped her life since her mother's death. When she arrived home, Omago was waiting, her arms crossed and her lip pursed. "You took long enough. What were you doing out there?" she asked. "I was helping an old woman," Agbo replied, her voice barely above a whisper. Omago shouted, "Helping? You should have been thinking about your choice. Now hurry up, light the fire." As Agbo walked, she felt the heart stone in her pocket. It warmed a reminder of the old woman's kindness. That night, she laid in her small bed. She clutched the stone tightly and closed her eyes. "I wish for freedom," she whispered into the darkness. "I wish to be happy again." The heart stone paused in response, and a soft glow filled the room, wrapping around Agbo like a warm blanket. She drifted up to sleep, a peaceful smile on her face. The next morning, Agbo awoke to a bright, sunny day, but something was different. As she stretched and rubbed her eyes, she realized she was no longer in a small cramped room. Instead, she was in a beautiful garden filled with colorful flowers and singing birds. The air was sweet, and the sun kissed her cheek gently. Agbo jumped out of bed, her heart racing with excitement. She ran to the edge of the garden where a sparkling stream flowed, and there, standing beside it, was the old woman. "Welcome, dear child," the woman said, and her eyes twinkling. "You wish for freedom, and now you have it. You are in a place where no one can harm you, and where happiness blooms like the flowers around you. Agbo's heart soared. Is this real? She asked, her voice filled with wonders. Yes, my dear. You have the power to create your own happiness, but remember, kindness is the key to keeping it. Agbo spent her days in the magical garden, playing with the animals, dancing with flowers, and learning the secrets of the forest from the old woman. She felt free for the first time in her life, her laughter echoing through the trees like music. But one day, as she was picking white flowers, she felt a tug at her heart. She remembered her father, who had been left behind with Omago. I want him to be happy too, she thought. He deserved to be free from her. With determination in her heart, Agbo approached the old woman. I want to help my father. Can I wish for him to be happy? The old woman smiled knowingly. You are wise beyond your years, Agbo. You can wish for him to find happiness, but remember, it must come from within. Agbo nodded and took a deep breath. I wish for my father to find joy and love again away from Amago. The hearthstone glowed brightly in her hand, and in an instant Agbo felt a rush of warmth. She knew her wish had been granted. Back in the village, her father was sitting alone in their cottage, his heart heavy with grief. But as he gazed out the window, he suddenly felt a spark of hope. He remembered the laughter of his little girl and the warmth of his late wife. A realization dawned on him: he could choose to find happiness again. With newfound determination, he decided to visit the village market. There, he met a kind woman named Ada, who had also lost someone dear. They began to talk, sharing their stories and laughter, and soon a beautiful friendship bloomed between them. It wasn't long before love bloomed, and they decided to build a new life together. Meanwhile, in the magical garden, Agbo's heart was filled with joy. She knew her father was beginning to heal, and that love would find its way back into his life. As the day turned into weeks, Agbo continued to strive in a beautiful heaven. The old woman taught her about the wonders of nature, the importance of kindness, and the magic that lived in every heart. Agbo learned to cultivate her own garden, planting seeds of love and joy that will bloom for years to come. One sunny afternoon, as she was tending to her flower, the old woman approached her. You have grown so much, Agbo. You have learned the greatest lesson of all, that happiness is not just a wish, but a choice we make every day. Agbo smiled, her heart full. Thank you for everything. I will always remember to be kind and to share my happiness with others. The old woman nodded, her eyes sparkling. And remember, dear child, you can always return to this garden. It will always be a part of you. With a warm embrace, the old woman began to fade into the shimmering light, leaving Agbo with the hearthstone, which now glowed brighter than ever. Years passed, and Agbo grew into a kind and compassionate young girl. Her laughter filled the air, and her heart was as big as the sky. She would often visit the forest, where she could feel the magic of the old woman's teaching surrounding her. One day, as she wandered through the wood, she stumbled upon her father and Ada, who were walking hand in hand. Their faces light with joy. They had built a new home together, filled with love and laughter, and they welcomed Agbo with open arms. Together, they created a life full of happiness, where kindness reigned and love bloomed like the flower in the garden. Agbo never forgot the lesson she had learned from the old woman, and she made sure to share her kindness with everyone she met. And so, in a small village nesting between rolling hills and whispering wood, Agbo, her father, and Ada lived happily ever after.